Welcome back to the 9th Gym program, and today we are talking about Tapu Koko, continuing on with the DLC to Pokemon from Crown Tundra. Now, this Pokemon is one of the most hyped up ones, and for good reason. It has been insane in every single format that it's been allowed in, which, a few. And it's always like a top 10 Pokemon, a very good Pokemon. And for good reason. Look at these stats. It's crazy. Speed is crazy. Its attack is really good, and special attack is very solid. Typically, people will be using it in the special attacking because mostly due to so many intimidators in the format. Also, its move pool is just so good for it. Now, especially with Rising Voltage, that move that has 140 base power, it's pretty wild. Like, that move is just an insane move. You have that, you have Volt Switch, you have good, Dazzling Gleam for its dual coverage. It's pretty good. It does have a shallow move pool, so it doesn't have a lot of different coverage options, but what we have, the options that it does have are very good. Electric Fairy typing is a really cool typing, only giving you 2 weaknesses while giving you 1 immunity and 5 resistances, so it's a pretty positive overall kind of thing there, which is good. Poison and Ground are both also, generally something you can avoid, especially with like a Steel type Pokemon for weaknesses for that, to just eat, opposing max oozes. That can be good. You also have Ground weakness, which you can get around with, switching in a flying type Pokemon, or even Volt switching since this Pokemon is just so fast. So Tapu Koko has a lot of good options. I shouldn't really have to talk too much about the ability Electric Surge, which just activates electric terrain for 5 turns, which is really, really good. Once again, with those Tapu Pokemon in the format, we are going to be transitioning into a very, very terrain heavy format where almost every team will be having some kind of Tapu or form of setting terrain, which now comes in max move form as well, so that can be really good. Makes it so you don't have to have a Tapu. It's still pretty recommended to have a Tapu, or some form of it, Rillaboom and DD, something like that, but still, the Tapus seem really strong for that. Anyway, Tapu Koko, I definitely expect to be top 10 Mon, maybe even top 5 Mon. It's just so powerful and insanely fast, has good coverage. It's a good Pokemon. So let's look at these stats real quick before we move on. So speed at 130 makes it ridiculously fast, hitting that 200 speed with only a couple of Pokemon, other than weather boosted Pokemon and stuff like that. Only a few things will be outspeeding it. Unfortunately, Dragapult did, is in the format and still is really, really strong. Super fast Pokemon. But you know what? You have Dazzling Gleam / Max Starfall, so you can take, Dragapult out. Not even a big deal, so it's pretty good. Special attack and attack are pretty good, and then bulk is decent, not great though. HP at 70, defense at 85, special defense at 75. It's a little bit below average, but with Dynamax you can definitely live an attack or two, especially of resisted hits. So yeah, it doesn't make it really bulky, but it is a good option to go for like bulk, with like Assault Vest. But you're always going to be investing into speed in your attack, so yeah, but Assault Vest can help, and Dynamax can help. Anyway, that is it for the overview. Let's talk about the actual builds I have today. Yes, I said builds. I have 2 here. I don't know why I felt the need to say yes I have, because you can see them on screen. Anyway, 2 builds today. One is going to be the Dynamax variant, the more so Dynamax variant with Life Orb. You don't have to Dynamax this variant though, because all of its moves are very good, and Rising Voltage offers the same amount of base power whether you Dynamax it or not, if you're in the right terrain, which it sets. So that is really good. Anyway, Tapu Koko, Life Orb. Life Orb gives us that plus 30% damage, which is really good, allowing you to even gain that amount of damage when you Dynamax, making all of its other moves stronger. Most of them are 130 to 140 base power, plus Life Orb. Very, very good stuff. I like it a lot. It's very strong. Electric Surge, of course. We're not going to be using Telepathy ever. Like, never. Our attacks are Rising Voltage, Volt Switch, Dazzling Gleam, and Protect. Dual Stab, move of choice, which is the Volt Switch, and then Protect. Makes a lot of sense. I don't think there's anything really, too out of the ordinary here. Losing or gaining Rising Voltage is really big because you get to replace Thunderbolt, which just seemed like, like its best attack before, but now you have like a very strong attack that can be a little bit weaker. Sure, it goes down to 70 if you're not in the terrain, but it sets its terrain, and it also can reset the terrain with max Rising Voltage, which is good. And max Rising Voltage hits a 140 base power, so it's a very, very strong max move. But add Stab, add Life Orb, add the Terrain boost, which is 30%. It's very, very damaging, and it's a very good Dynamax mon. Not to mention, it's insanely fast and it's just great. Top 10 mon, no doubt. Tapu Koko is really good. Not really remaking the wheel here by saying Tapu Koko is good and giving it the set. Anyway, next we have Choice Specs. This is the other variant. This is the not Dynamaxing variant. If you have multiple other Pokemon on your team that are going to be Dynamaxing almost 100% of the time, just slap a Choice Specs on this guy and call it a day. You have Rising Voltage, Volt Switch, and Dazzling Gleam. Nothing's changing there. But instead of Protect, I give it Grass Knot. Like I said, it doesn't have a very developed move pool, so Grass Knot is pretty solid here. Grass Knot kind of does suck in this format because it doesn't affect Dynamaxed Mons, but a lot of Water-type Pokemon that Grass Knot will hit for super effective damage in Ground-type Pokemon and, rocks and stuff are not going to be Dynamaxed, and not all will Dynamax. I mean, obviously you'll have some that Dynamax, but still Grass Knot could be effective. And when you have Choice Specs, there's not really any point to putting Protect on there, so Grass Knot it is. Anyway, that is about it for the builds here. Let's go ahead and cover some other options. So a lot of my damage calcs actually show off that you don't need Life Orb or Choice Specs to hit the like really good damage. So these other options are actually decent options as well. So the first one is Assault Vest. Like I said earlier, meager bulk allows for a really strong Assault Vest Pokemon, and you can, put on 4 attacks pretty easily. I mean, as you see here, the Choice Specs set, Assault Vest is not bad for that as well. Now, we also have Focus Sash. Like I said, not very great bulk. Focus Sash can work in your favor. Can definitely be good. Next, we have our other moves options here. There's not really many options other than like what I had, It does learn a couple of cool moves randomly, but you're probably not going to be using them because this is pretty much an all-in attacking mon. But you can use physical as well if you're not afraid of all the Intimidates going around and you're cool with this move pool. Brave Bird, Play Rough, Wild Charge would most likely be the set that I go for if I did go for a physical attacking Tapu Koko. Life Orb, Brave Bird, Play Rough, Wild Charge, the same EV spread, and then Protect. Yeah, works out pretty well. As far as the EV spread, I didn't talk about that, and I don't even have one for the second set. Whoops. It's going to be the same either way. It's just 252 speed, 252 special attack, 400 HP for the Dynamaxing, and then Timid Nature, giving you as fast as possible of a Tapu Koko. Works pretty well. And there's not really anything else I should say about that. So let's talk about these 2 synergetic Pokemon that I have. So first off, I have Lando T. A lot of people were expecting Lando Koko teams to be really insane right off the bat. I still do think that. They're both top 5, top 10, top 5 Pokemon for a reason. They're both insane and they cover each other really well. Tapu Koko, of course, has that ground weakness. In which case you can just switch Lando in for, which is really good. It also has Intimidate, which is really good. And then you have your Ice weakness and your Water weakness. Really just the Water weakness, but some Pokemon are Ice Water. You never know. But yeah, Tapu Koko covers the Water weakness as well. Of course, you'll have to, have something to deal with Ice Pokemon, but that can be really easily added with like an Incineroar or something. If you feel lazy and just feel like adding something, that can be really good. Now, the other one I have here is Tornadus. Once again, a good flying type to cover that ground weakness, but it also sets Tailwind and can give you like Swagger support, Icy Wind. You can be, it can just be an all-around very supportive Pokemon. And I said Icy Wind, but I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good Pokemon, synergetic Pokemon for that. Anyway, that is it for the builds and stuff for VGC. Let's go ahead and talk about speed tiers real quick. So, speed tiers, this Pokemon is very fast. Like I was saying, 200 is very, very respectable speed tier to be at. Outspeeding a lot of really good Pokemon, old and new. Things like Cinderace, Raikou, Alolan Persian, Thundurus, Kartana, Ninetales, Alola, Terrakion, Nihilego. You have so many great Pokemon there that you're outspeeding. Excadrill, Garchomp, Arcanine, Tapu Lele, not Scarfed. A lot of really good Pokemon, so Tapu Koko works really well here. Now, Pokemon that do outspeed it, a couple are going to be new additions. Things like the Dracovish at Scarf and Dragapult are new additions in which, otherwise you wouldn't have to have worried about in 2019 and before, but still very respectable speed tier. There are still a couple of other Pokemon that outspeed that are old and new alike. Landorus Therian at Scarf, which doesn't seem to be the popular pick this format, but definitely could show up. Tapu Lele at Scarf, which will definitely show up. Venusaur at Chlorophyll, which will definitely show up. And Excadrill at Sandrush. And, the other weather mons like Kingdra, Swift Swim, random Swift Swimmers, and stuff like that. So there are definitely, Pokemon that will be outspeeding, but the majority of them are being outsped by Tapu Koko. It just dusting them. It's pretty cool. Anyway, that is it for speed tiers. Let's talk about some damage calcs. So some of these damage calcs, as you see here, I didn't have to add anything, like no Life Orb or Choice Specs or anything. Just in its terrain and Rising Voltage at 140 BP is enough to take out a lot of Pokemon that it's hitting super effective for. So let's look at it. Rising Voltage without any kind of other buff. Max invested, of course, but Rising Voltage at doubling. Hitting a Togekiss, a very bulky Togekiss, 236 HP and 12 special defense. This was just the most common set going around for a little while. In electric terrain, we're hitting 114 to 136, which is guaranteed OHKO against that Pokemon, which is very good. Still a Pokemon that I think will be, top 20, top 30 at least, maybe even top 10. It is still a really, really powerful Pokemon, and something that you'll definitely want to, know this calc for. Anyway, next we have Tapu Fini. Max Lightning with the Life Orb and Max invested into a Tapu Fini, a very bulky Tapu Fini. A lot of Tapu Finis will invest in bulk. Having 252 HP and 76 plus special defense, this leaves a lot of room for improvement. A lot of them will go more into defense, and some into special attack as well. So this just leaves pretty good. 98 to 115%, which is an 87.5 chance to OHKO. This is a weird one. This is one that you're probably going to have to roll for sometimes, but still a really good damage calc to know. And if you're using Choice Specs, you take it out easy peasy because you get that additional 20% damage from Choice Specs over Life Orb because 140 base power is Rising Voltage or Max Lightning off of Rising Voltage. Either way. Anyway, next we have Rising Voltage into Tornadus. This is an easy OHKO. 194 to 229. Guaranteed OHKO. Easy peasy. Next we have Dynamaxed Max Starfall with Life Orb into a Dynamaxed Dragapult. Hitting 90 to 107%, which is a 43.8% chance to OHKO. A pretty low roll, something I wouldn't really rely on. But you know what, if you're hitting it with like a multi-targeting move like you have this, and then like a Rock Sliding Lando T, you're taking it out pretty easy. So that is, definitely something to keep in mind. Next, you have Tapu Koko Rising Voltage into a Milotic in electric terrain. This is without any buffs, but the Milotic is also not buffed at all. We are hitting 103 to 122. Very good calc here, guaranteed OHKO. Milotic may see a little bit of a rise because of Lando. So yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Next, we have Tapu Koko Max Lightning into a pretty bulky Dynamaxed Lapras. This is just the default spread. I didn't feel like changing it up too much because, Lapras calc will definitely change around a lot during this format. But still, Life Orb, Tapu Koko Max Lightning into a pretty bulky Dynamaxed Lapras. He's still hitting 666. Ooh. Yikes. 66.6 to 78.8% damage, which is guaranteed to OHKO. And even if they activate, or they go for Resonance and activate the Aurora Veil, you're still most likely taking that 2-hit KO. So that's pretty good. And that's just with this random spread. It might go more into attack and speed, but only time will tell. Anyway, next we have our single spotlight. Let's talk about that before I end the video. So in singles, this Pokemon is actually pretty cool. It uses Choice Specs and it's a very similar moveset, but it has Roost as well. So if you bring this Pokemon in on a resisted hit and then don't really feel like doing anything else, you can go Roost and then switch back around. So that can be really good. But you also have Choice Specs for Rising Voltage, Dazzling Gleam, and Volt Switch as well. So it's a pretty good Pokemon in singles as well. 252 invest into speed and special attack, the leftover 4 into special defense, and then timid nature just to be as fast as possible. Makes a lot of sense. Anyway, that is about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Follow the socials. All the links will be in the description down below. Watch me live on Twitch, all of that stuff. Anyway, I think Tapu Koko is definitely going to be an insanely good Pokemon in VGC 2020 Series 7, and I don't think anybody's really arguing that fact. It's definitely going to be a top 10 Pokemon, almost the entirety of Series 7, I would think, and might even be a top 5. Maybe even like top 3 Pokemon. I don't know. It's a very, very strong Pokemon and definitely an S tier Pokemon. My tier list is coming out tomorrow, so definitely watch that. But spoiler alert, Tapu Koko is S tier. Anyway, that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.